guess what? My colleague, Shadia Edwards-Dashti, whom you'll be familiar with on the show, my RT colleague here in London, she's got it. And she's on the line now. Shadia, I'm very sorry that you are poorly, but how poorly are you?
I think, George, you may be sorry that I'm cooped up in this room, but poorly I am not. I have not got a single symptom. I'm absolutely fine, but I'm absolutely furious at the same time because I am now stuck in this room, these four walls, for quite a long time. It's unclear whether it's 10 days from the day I tested positive or when I had symptoms. But of course, I don't have any symptoms and I haven't done since I was tested positive. So I'm quite frankly a furious colleague of yours right now.
Well, you see, this is one of many strange things. You can get the vaccination, but still get the virus. You can get the vaccination and still pass on the virus. You can even get the vaccination, get the virus, and still die. And you can get the virus and yet feel and look perfectly normal. How did this all come about?
Well, of course, George, there's just no way to know where I got it, when I got it, or where anybody may have got it. I myself am double vaccinated now, so this puts even more anger and frustration in me that I'm going by the government guidelines. I have always followed the guidelines in terms of these vaccinations, yet here I am. At the end of the day, George, this is a cold. This is nothing more than a cold that I had maybe a week ago with a few coughs and a few sneezes. Is that really enough to lock me in this room? And is that really enough to lock down a nation, which I feel is inevitable very, very soon?
Why did you get tested? What was it were you forced to get tested?
Yeah, I was actually at my friend's house. I was there on Friday evening and we were just about to have actually a few drinks. And I had a few coughs, literally a few coughs could have been from dust for all we know. And because she's in such a hysterical frenzy, which I think many people are, she said to me, take a lateral flow test. So I did. And then there it was. It was a positive lateral flow, which then was confirmed with a PCR. But, you know, must we get into this place in time that one person sneezes and we say, oh, my gosh, take a test? This is where we're at now, George.
Well, we may be. I mean, if my information is correct and Parliament is being recalled on Tuesday, it's not being recalled to toss flowers in the path of the Prime Minister. It's being recalled for some drastic reason. And from what you've said already, I infer that you, like me, think that that would be a grave overreaction.
Absolutely a grave overreaction. We've already seen these Plan B restrictions being a total overreaction as well. And I don't mean face masks at all. I mean making it mandatory for people to get the vaccination in the NHS. That is a total infringement and curtailment of people's human rights. It's my body, it's my choice, and that should be applied to everybody, regardless what sector they're in. So that's already a step too far. But what we're going to see most probably is a total lockdown, which is going to be even worse for people in the NHS. But should we forget all of these staff cuts? Should we forget the funding cuts to the NHS, the total movement towards privatization of the NHS? No, let's just blame this sneeze and this small round of coughing on the failures of the NHS, which is totally unfair. But for the individual, on an individual basis, if we go into lockdown, what does that mean for our civil liberties as well?
Well, civil liberties and also the economy. There are many businesses that didn't make it out of the last wave. There are many companies, businesses in which people work, on which they depend, which are hanging or were hanging by a thread. Another lockdown is going to see another huge leap in unemployment, isn't it?
We will absolutely see this. We have seen so many people that are self-employed, the hospitality sector, the arts, all of these great, great things that make Britain Britain. And we've seen them totally on their knees throughout the pandemic. And like you say, we will see many, many businesses shut up for good if they haven't already. And I think one thing that many people are asking right now is, why isn't the economy being put in more of a place of priority right now? And how is this happening when we look at politicians not following their own rules, when you only have to look at the seconds before a photograph is taken and suddenly politicians are putting on their masks? What does that really tell you if they're not following their own rules? Do they really think Omicron is as bad as they're making it out to be?
Well, of course, it can mean one of two things. Either that they don't really believe what they're telling us, and that's why they're in the Downing Street garden having wine and cheese, having parties, or like a famous ITV television reporter sitting at the press conference in Downing Street the other night with no mask on until the camera rolls when he's got a mask on. Either it means they themselves don't believe what they are saying, or they're being absolutely reckless in the way that they denounce others for being. All I can say is, I'm glad you're not poorly, and you are rather magnificent when you're angry. Shadia Edwards-Dashti, thanks
George.
very much for joining us.